Hey everyone, how are we going? Today I'm going to go over the Red Broly deck from set 15 with all the extra cards. Now, as you may have noticed, I did do a poll in the Dragon Ball Super um, discussion group and asking what kind of deck profiles everyone likes. When I started recording this video, the result was there was one difference between PowerPoints and Deck Planet. I personally believe that PowerPoints I can talk to you more and you can kind of see the cards a bit better and it's a bit more in depth. So that's the way I'm going to do it for now. However, I will be posting just a Deck Planet list at the end of this video, and I'll also do another video sometime soon with another deck with a recent amount of hype and about as equal hype as this Red Broly deck. Purely on Deck Planet, so I can see the results and then judge it there for myself. Now, I will note that the top result was me cosplaying as Broly and acting out the cards. That's not going to happen because Dylan didn't buy me the cosplay suit. So if Dylan bought me the cosplay suit, totally could have done it. But because he refused to, we're going to go as is on the PowerPoint. But let's get straight into the deck. So we're going to start off with the leader. Now, on the Unawakened side, it's a 10k leader, and it has a permanent. You can't include non-Broly battle cards in your deck. Now, this is pretty annoying. It does limit what the deck can do a lot. However, the deck can still do a fair bit, still got a lot of versatility, so we're not too worried about it. We've got super combos, we've got a secret rare, we've got a decent super combo, we've got a decent secret that we can use. So we're in an okay spot. Without Broly cards. The only card at the moment that we don't have is a Overwhelm. However, black reveals are this week, so we could get a Broly Overwhelm. We never know. It's pretty crazy that we haven't got one at this stage, so there's a good chance we will get one. So this deck has an Overwhelm, but we'll see. The Unawakened leader. Choose one card, red extra card in your hand, discard it. When this card attacks, draw 2. Now, when I first saw this, I was thinking to myself, gosh, sometimes you may not have a red extra card, but we're always going to have a red extra card in hand. We've got so many of them in the deck that order will be fulfilled like 90% of the time. Awaken when your life's at 3 or less, you can draw 2, switch up to one of your energies to active mode and flip this card over. Now, it is important to note the 3 or less is actually quite important here. It means against stall decks, you're actually not going to be able to self-awaken. There is 4 copies of a card that can awaken yourself in the deck. But besides that, I don't know of any self-awaken and Brolys, and I don't know of any other extra cards that you can run like Omen of Awakening. The only other way is testing the opposition, but they actually have to swing for that. So there are really, really awkward ways that you can take that last life of yours. However, it is going to be quite difficult. So self-awakening is going to be difficult against stall decks, but that is something you can always side for and deal with a bit later on. Anyway. The Awakened leader. So after we draw 2 and untap 1 when we're awakened, when this card attacks, you draw 1. Then if there are 7 or more red extra cards in your drop, you can activate the Activate Battle skill on a red non-field extra card with the original energy cost of 3 or less in your drop without paying its energy cost. If you do, you send that card to the warp. So there's some red extra cards that draw your card, so you can essentially get a +2, which is really nice. There are others that just give you insane power boost, so you can be like essentially a 40k leader on the swing. So there's a lot you can do with this order, and it is extremely powerful. However, you're going to be at 3 or less, so you're probably only going to get this order off once or twice. The deck has like a lot of combo power to speak of, so you can survive. You can like just quickly go down to 3, awaken, and still survive a lot on your awaken side with just the 15k. Especially in the slower mid-range format that we're in. Anyway, the most important part of this leader is the Activate Battle. You can choose 1 extra card in your hand, discard it. This card gets 5k power for the battle. So basically, every single card in the deck you can combo with no matter what. The only time that you won't be able to use the Activate Battle is either against the 8-drop Fu. That's going to really annoy you. Again, if someone overwhelms the 8-drop Fu, you have to drop a card every time you activate a skill. So that's going to hinder you a lot. The other one is the Apex Victory Strike Secret Rare, except you've got a bunch of extra cards to stop that, so as long as you've got 1 or 2 energy untapped, that's not going to be a big problem. Anyway, let's move right on. So first of all, we're going to talk about the extra cards that aren't really activate battles. Like, 2 of these have activate battles, but these are more played for the activate mains. So we have, starting off, Encounter, which is the TP promo. It's not super strong, however, it's still a good card in the deck. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, add up to 1 mono red Videl or Brawly card among them with the energy cost of 4 or less, and add them to your hand. And this is our only way of battle card search. The reason I said it's not the best, and you could probably take this out if you would like, however, the main problem with Encounter is the fact that you don't run too many battle cards. So in this list, we only have 10 targets that Encounter can hit. You could run 6 more, I believe it is, or you could run, you could run like about 6 more in the deck. So you have options, however, you don't want too many of these in the deck because the activate main is just paying an energy to search. So it's decent, it's not the best. Activate battle, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and gets the minus 10k. It's decent, but we have a lot of better activate battles than Encounter. Next we have the Demon Cometh. So the main reason we have this in the deck is for the first activate main. If your leader is a mono red Saiyan card and you choose 1 red extra card in your hand discard, you get a draw 2. So it's just decent. It's good filtering early on, which is the main reason I have it in the deck. It's just for that filtering. Besides that, don't need it too much. You want a bunch of extra cards in the drop for your leaders. Your leader needs 7 red extra cards in the drop, as well as your big boss monster needs 5. So you want a couple in the drop, and this one the better ways to get them in there. Next you have its activate main, where if your leader is a red Broly card, you can choose 1 card in your hand, discard it, and you can send this card from your drop area to your warp. That's the cost, and then you get to play 1 red Broly card with the energy cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle your deck. Now, this seems decent, however, we don't actually have any red Broly cards that we really want to play. None of them are super strong. I have 2 1 cost red Brolys in this deck, and that one you want to be playing from hand, so it's not the best. However, there is a kind of line of play you could go with the deck, which I've decided not to go against. When we get onto Deck Planet, at the very end, I'll try search up the cards and show you guys that basic package. But anyway, so we don't use that second activate main too much. Then moving on, we have this 0 cost, the Demon Awakened extra card. So the activate battle you're virtually never going to use. The activate main, limit 1, burst 1. If your leader is a red Broly, you can send this card from your drop to your warp and add 1 card from, if you want, you can then add 1 card, up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So this is your Self-Awaken card. I've got 3 of them in here. You probably don't need 3, you could run 0 if you wanted. I just always think it's nice to have a little bit of Self-Awakening in the deck. So if you're on 4 life and they're just leaving on 4 life, you can go down to 3. Just stuff like that. It's nice to have Self-Awakening abilities. Moving on, we have, these are our 3 activate battles that we love to use. So first of all, we have Demonic Barrier. I will start off by saying all of these extra cards have the same permanent, which is if your leader card is a red Broly card, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. However, the gigantic Meteor has, if it's a mono red Saiyan instead of if it's just a red Broly. But anyway, moving on. Demonic Barrier, if your leader has 15k power or less, so you get to choose 1 of your cards and it gets 5k power for the turn. Additionally, if that card's a Broly, it also gains crit. So this can be used on a Sensu Bean on your opponent's turn, or can be really used to put pressure in on your turn. Very, very strong card. We're mainly going to be playing this defensively on your opponent's turn or offensively on our big boss monster that we'll talk about later. Next, we've got Demonic Playtime. So you limit 1, draw 1, then choose up to 1 of your red cards and it gets 10k power for the battle. Additionally, if that card is a Broly, it also gains double strike. So this is a Champer that draws you a card. It is a limit 1, but you're not going to be essentially using it more than once per turn, as most of our Broly's have double strike. So you're mainly going to be using this on your leader, and it's very good to use early just to push your opponent's leader down. I personally think this is the best turn 1 play, because it gets in your drop as well, and you get that card back. Moving on, we've got Gigantic Mentor. Choose, so it's activate battle, limit 1, choose 1. If it's your turn, choose any number of your opponent's battle cards that add up to a total power of 30k or less in KO. So on your turn, this is a board wipe. Like, you're not going to have too many times where your opponent has like a bunch of 30Ks. Dark Broly is essentially gone in the meta. But worst comes to worst, is going to spot KO any of your opponent's battle cards for 1 energy, which is just really nice. Moving on, you got the second effect, which is choose one of your leaders or unisons, and it gets 15k power and has its skills negated for the battle, which is a bit unfortunate, but it means you can't just like demonic barrier and give it crit and then give it 25k power. And it says additionally, if the chosen card's a Broly, it gets an additional 10k power. So it's 1 energy, 25k, very similar to Frieza's Death Ball, but it has that additional effect, which is why we run it at 4. Moving on, we have our other like activate battle / activate main cards. So we have 2 Frieza's Death Ball, very similar to the Gigantic Meteor I just said, except this is you choose one of your leaders or battle cards, and it gets 15k. Then if all your energy is red, you get to choose one of your opponent's leaders or battle cards, give it -10k. So this can be used for a bit more board control if you want, or it can just like be a 25k combo power piece, same as Gigantic Mentor. Then we've got Strategies of U7. I think this is a very important card on the deck. You get to choose all of your red sand cards in the battle area, and they gain barrier. So at the current time, I'll show my boss monster. It is a 6-drop with deflect, which means it's not getting hit by any counterplays except for Frieza Charismatic Villain. And then after Charismatic Villain gets played, like after that counter window, if you give it barrier, there's very little cards that are actually going to be able to interact with it, especially on your turn. Heron's Lineage won't, Boo Unison won't. There's just a bunch of like annoying things that just won't be able to deal with this, which is really, really nice. Moving on, we have the negates running the deck. We've got 3 KVIPs. One of the best negates, and we have them on a red Saiyan leader, so you're going to be able to defend really easily with this card, especially if you give your leader the 5k off Bean. You're essentially 10k like combo power per swing of theirs, which is just insane value. Next, we've got Violent Rays, still one of the best negates. Such a good card. And then we've got Demonic Blitz, which is our final negate. It's a new negate. Counterattack limit 1, negate the attack, and then again choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets -10k power. And then once again, it has, if your leader is a red Broly card, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. It's got to activate battle. You choose one of your cards, it gets 10k power. You won't be using that too much, as there's better activate battles to use for your 1 energy, but it just means it can be a 10k combo, or it can be a 5k combo, depending. Moving on to the rest of our negates, we've got 2 testing the oppositions. These are the rest of the ways to self-awaken, so we can take 5 life of our own, and because we have to awaken at 3, I thought that was a good number. However, for testing, they do have to swing into something. You can bait them by playing a Unison, they can swing to Unison, and you can defend that with testing the opposition. Next, we have 2 Beerus Balls. This is just our only counterplay in the deck. Unfortunately, the archetype didn't get any counterplays, I guess, which is fair enough, because it already got a lot of other really nice cards. But Beerus Ball, so counterplay. If your leader is red and your life's at 4 or less, if the battle card being played has 15k power or less, it is placed in its owner's drop area instead of being played. And if it's your opponent's turn, you get to choose one of your leaders and give it 5k power. So if they're playing like just a small battle card or something to help their what they want to do, you can counterplay it, give your leader another 5k. It's just really nice. It's important to note that the cost, at least my understanding of this card, is the cost isn't the cost is the 1 energy, and if your life's at 4 or less. So you can play this on a battle card that has more than 15k power, because you fulfill as much of the counterplay as you want. So if you want to take a life just to give your leader 5k for the turn, when they play something, you should be able to do it as well. Actually, ignore that. You won't be able to take a life because we're not running multicolor energy. You'll only be able to pay 1 for this. Ignore that, but still, if you want to pay 1 to give your leader 5k for the turn, you're more than welcome to. Next, we have our battle cards. So, a lot of shiny and bright battle cards, but let's talk about the 4-drop first. So, it's an auto limit 1. If your leader is a red Broly, when you activate the activate battle skill on a red extra card with the original energy cost of 3 or more, so that's either you've got your, I'll quickly go back to show you, these 3. You've got Demonic Barrier, Demonic Playtime, and Gigantic Meteor. So you got 11 of these, so a lot of targets. You get to play this guy, and then when you play this guy, you get to choose. So you get to choose one when he attacks. You get a -10k from one of your opponent's battle cards, or you get a neg 15k from one of your opponent's Unisons. So both of them are for the turn, which is really nice. So it means if there's a battle card, like a small battle card you want to get rid of, you can easily get rid of it. Or if there's a Unison that just has like 15k power, you can swing into it, neg it by 15, that will remove marker, and then the swing will actually remove another marker. It's really nice. The card's not unique, so you will be able to have a couple of these on the field at once if you would like. And then if you've got a couple, you can always strategy to use 7. However, it has a limit 1, so you can only play 1 per turn. Next, I'm going to talk about Broly Crown before we get onto the big boss monster. So Broly Crown and Retribution, it's a Broly card and it's a good card. So when you play this card from your hand, if your opponent has 2 or more energy in active mode, your opponent reveals their hand and you choose one battle card with 20k power or less and place in the Sonus drop. So especially now with blue-yellow being so popular and playing Zamasu, you can drop this, because they're going to keep 2 energy up to counterplay Unison, you can drop this to screw off their Zamasu. They could counterplay this because they may have like a nice hand, but then they just tap their 2 energy for your 1 energy, and then you can play whatever you want, ignoring Zamasu, which is really nice. But that is those two, and then we have this beautiful SPR, the beautiful boss monster of the deck. So it's got Deflect and Double Strike. So Deflect is really important with blue being so big at the moment. If your opponent has 3 or more energy and you have 5 or more red extra cards in your drop area, you get to reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. Then it's got auto once per turn. You get to choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. When you activate the Activate Battle skill on a red extra card with the original energy cost of 3 or more in your hand or drop, you get to switch this card to active mode. Then if the card you discarded with skill is a copy of this card, you get to draw 2, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards or Unison, ignoring barrier, and it gets minus 35k for the turn. So a couple things I want to say about this is, one, this card's insane. You can just drop a card and give him dual attack, double strike, and then if you gave him, so you can swing with him, give him crit, restand him, so he's a 40k crit for the turn, with Demonic Playtime, I think it was, is the one that gives crit. So he's a 40k crit double strike dual attack, which is insane value for like 4 energy. But then you can like strategies to give him deflect anyway. To give him barrier, very, very strong boss monster. But then the additional effect of when you discard it, if you discard a copy of this card, you get to draw 2 and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards. Or Unisons give it, ignoring barrier, neg 35k power for the turn. What this means is if you activate battle on your opponent's turn with one of these cards, you can discard a copy of this, draw 2, and then KO the attacking battle card by just giving it neg 35k power, ignoring barrier. There aren't many cards that get around this. Like, there's not many cards that have more than 35k power, so this can just kill something on your opponent's turn, which is really, like, it's kind of like the Jiren Unison's -3 effect. It's just so impactful just to have it there. Like, if your opponent's thinking about it, they always have to play around it. It is so impactful. Unfortunately, you can only have 4 of these in the deck, so you can't just willy-nilly discard them using that effect, because sometimes people have answers for this. Most of the time they won't, but it is just important to note. Moving on, we have our Unison, Super Combo, and Secret Rare. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the Unison. So if there are 3 or more extra cards in your drop, this card gains Double Strike. So it's a 15k Double Strike for 2 energy. Then activate main, you got to look it up to the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 red extra card with an Activate Battle skill and an original energy cost of 3 or less among them, and add them to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So, quite important. This is like an extra draw once per turn, which is really, really nice for this deck. Most of the time, you like extra cards on the deck, so you'll love to see just all the extra cards. Yeah, so I really like the +1. I really also like the -2. When your opponent attacks with a battle card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets a -3k for the turn for each red extra card in your drop. So this can essentially act like the Boo's -1, the Boo Unison -1. We all know how like detrimental that card is. The only problem I currently have with this Dark Broly is it doesn't have any natural defense. It's a 15k body, it's a 15k Unison, and only has a +1. That's very, very easy for most decks to answer. It's very unlikely this Unison staying on for more than 1 turn. So you essentially want to play this when you have, like, play it for 2 when you've got 3 energy, so you can at least defend it with a King Vegeta imposing presence, or testing the opposition if you've got 5 or less life. Playing this on 2 for 2 is never the right, I don't ever think will be the right play to make, which is why I have it at 3 and not 4, because I think this is more of a luxury card rather than a Very, very important card. Now, that being said, without this card, your deck is going to suffer in draws because it only draws for turn and draws 1 per turn with the leader. Besides that, you're not able to do too much drawing, which is a real shame. It's nice the Awakens at least a draw 2, untap 1, so you get the extra draw and you get the extra energy to play around with. That extra draw will matter in this deck. However, it's just not going to draw like other decks. Like against Go Honeycrisp, the only way to kind of win that is to have insane combo power. Now we've got SS Broly, Awakened Attacker, which is our super combo. When this card is used in a combo, you get to draw 1. Very, very nice. It's Sparking 5. It's Broly, so Sparking 5 you're going to fulfill extremely early on in this game because you're just going to be pitching extra cards to draw 2 early, and then you got a bunch of other stuff to do early if required. And then finally, the secret rate, you got SS4 Broly, the Great Destroyer. Now this is a Broly, not a Broly BR. I did double check that before putting it in the list. So activate main, you get to choose one of your mono red Saiyans with the original power of 35k in your battle area and place it in the owner's drop. And you get to play this card from your hand. Then choose up to one of your mono red leader and it gets 10k until the start of your next turn, which is insane value. And then it's got permanent all cards in your opponent's leader area and battle area and combo area get minus 5k power / combo power. So this card is going to like give you so much value if you get it set up. And unlike Broly BR, which is an extremely aggro deck, and like Gogeta BR, this deck has a lot more sustainability than those. So, and especially in this meta, if you drop this card, you can essentially just win the game because it's a 40k barrier. Not many decks whatsoever have answer to a 40k barrier. Like whatsoever. It's so ridiculously difficult to get rid of a 40k barrier card. And then you're leading getting 10k till start of your opponent's next turn. They're leading getting neg 5k. You can either win on this card or they can't just like, they won't be able to combo offensively or anything like that to get through it themselves. So if you drop this card, it's essentially going to be game over. Now, the only other secret rate you're allowed to run in this deck is, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the only secret rate you can run in this deck is Heron's Lineage. So if you don't own this SS4 Broly, you've still got one of the best budget SCRs in the deck that you can run. But anyway, that is the deck list. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I am going to quickly jump over to Deck Planet so you guys can see the full list. So here's the full list in one big go. I didn't talk too much about the ratios. I just did have the ratios at the bottom. So this is a 53 card list. Now this monster encounter is just meant to be encounter. I couldn't find it on DBS Deck Planet. That may be on me, or they may have not uploaded yet. Either way, this monster encounter is just the encounter card. So if you skip to this point and just screenshot of the video, you wouldn't have understand that. So it's all good. But I will, if DBS Deck Planet loads for me. Sometimes on this computer it can be very slow, so we'll see how we go. But I'll show you the other cards we can run. If not, I'll try jump over to... Looks like it's going to be slow. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to here, and we are going to go DBS card game. I'm going to look up some cards. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go red, card name, character name being Broly. Broly. Alright, and with an energy cost of 1. Alright, now I'm going to click search. And we're going to show you it's Broly BR. Can't run Broly BRs, at least to my knowledge. But this is the other Broly we can run. Yeah, it's not Broly BR. Yeah, cool. So this is the other Broly we can run in the deck. So it's got an order. When this card's played from your hand, you get to draw 1. However, you can play it off that extra card to negate the energy cost, or just cost 1. Then, if your opponent has 3 or more energy and there's a field extra card with an energy cost of 2 in your drop area, and you place this card as owner's drop, you gotta play 1 red Broly with an energy cost of 4 from your deck. Now, what I'll do first of all is I'm going to show you all the red Brolys with okay, so it's going to show Broly BRs as well, but I'm going to show you all the Brolys with an energy cost of 4. So we're not running anything that's not red. So you can run this 4-drop Broly. When your opponent activates a counter skill, you get to deal 1 damage to them. That's very nice. Then with strategies, you can give this barrier. Then during your turn, this card gets 5k power and can attack battle cards in active mode. This is not a bad card. This is another decent card, because when your opponent combos, you may choose one card in your hand, place it in the drop. If you do, choose one card in your opponent's combo area and place it in their drop and negate skills. Then once it's played, you get choose one of your opponent's battle cards, gets neg 10k. But I don't think this is impactful enough. Sprawly BR, that's the one we just talked about. Not red, not red, not red. This is all green. That's yellow and BR. Here's another just normal Broly. When this card's placed in the drop area from a combo area, send it to the warp instead. So this is essentially 20k beta. We're not doing anything with this. And then you got this Broly. Then he's kind of like a self-awakener, so we're not doing too much with him either. And this is Broly BR. So the only Broly we'll really consider playing off this is either this 4-drop, which I don't think it's worth it to play off that skill. I think you can just play this one from your hand. Is the best bet. 2 energy for 1 energy play, not really worth it. And then we have this SR, which could be deemed worth it. I do like this card, but it is a lot of commitment in the deck for it. And then I'm going to show you I don't think Field's a keyword skill. Oh, Field is a keyword skill. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to show you a red extra card with a red field card with specified cost of 2. And this is the one that we are talking about. So, this card is like the set 7 red Broly's card. So when a card in your life is added to your hand or placed in the drop area during your turn, you place the top card of your deck under this card. If there are 3 more cards under this card, place this card in your drop, then choose one red Broly card with the energy cost of 4 in your deck and play it. So you can tap 2 for this, and then once you take 3 life, you get to play a red Broly with a cost of 4. So that's one way to get it out. And yeah, we're not really looking to play any of these other field cards. That's not for this deck. It's mainly, and you're not really going to play Frieza's spaceship in this deck. So the main card we're playing in the deck for is Dormant Legend, and then yeah, so we can basically Dormant Legend twice in the game or something like that, or you can just you play the 1-drop, you discard Dormant Legend from your hand with your leader effect, and then you essentially get to play a 4-drop for 2 energy, which isn't bad. It's something I'll probably consider because it is a decent play. So if we do that, it'll look something like this. Slumbering, like 2 or 3 of this, and then you have I think it was called Swift. Can't remember. Oh, can I go back? Probably not. Doesn't like you to go back. But yeah, you'll run a couple of this guy. You'll run a couple of the 4-drops, and then you'll run like 3 of the other one, and then you can kind of sit with this card in your drop until you're ready to do this, and then just kind of go straight into that 4-drop for 2 energy, which is not the worst play in the world. I definitely think it's a decent play, and especially because this gets to play it from the deck. Which means you're not losing a card in hand. So for this entire thing, you lost 1 card in hand to get a 4-drop out in 2 energy. So it's not the worst thing in the world. It's definitely something to consider in your deck building if you don't like any of these extra cards I've got in the deck. But anyway, guys, it's been about 30 minutes, so I'll let you all go there. I hope you enjoyed my video. I do enjoy making these for you, so let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see from me in the future. I'm probably going to make a Finn deck, I think it is, whatever that new ridiculous black leader that just got released is. Probably make that one sooner rather than later, and I hopefully will have some more deck profiles coming to you from the last regionals. I know I only just had mine at the moment, but quite busy, so we'll see how I go with that. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Please let me know what you want me to do to improve for yourself. Yeah, look, that's me. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.